Episode 32 of the Habs Culture Podcast. My name is Mark-Anthony Bertaja. I'm alongside Justin Schwartz. We're back after a week's break. Last week I was a bit under the weather, so we skipped a week. The Habs are kind of playing the same way, so we didn't really miss out on much. There's some NHL news we can cover, though. There's been a lot that has happened over the past few weeks. But we'll start with the Habs, who are in action tonight in Detroit against the Red Wings. After coming off a 4-2 win against Calgary, which was a great game at the Bell Center. They played very well.
And you were there, right?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
And and was that your first game back since COVID?
It was my first game back. I was actually there for the viewing party when they lost to Tampa.
Okay.
But the last time I was there when they were on the ice, yeah, it was in March.
Okay, wow. So
or
definitely
even before that.
Must have been exciting, I guess, right?
2020. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. It was cool.
And it seemed to be a pretty good game. I think the Habs also had their legs under them. One of the few times this season.
Yeah, it was fast paced, good hockey game. Mangiapane scored a really nice goal, right in front of me. Really nice goal. But yeah, they played really well. Plus that little goal, the Gallagher goal, and the whole brawl after. Yeah, it's kind of funny. But yeah, they played just a solid hockey game, and obviously Suzuki came out and showed us why he's the MVP of this team. Maybe even Ben Chiarot.
Holy cow, this guy's scoring goals at a ridiculous pace right now.
Which is good, because every time he scores, his trade value goes up.
Well, that's it. And then you ship him at the deadline for more than we would have ever thought we would have gotten.
We're saying this now, but they might even extend him. Who knows?
Stop. Let's not talk about that right now. We'll live in the moment for now.
Because I saw things on Twitter where they're like, some people are thinking of, or some people are saying like Darren Dreger that they're thinking of extending Chiarot. That's horrible.
It is bad, especially he throughout his time in Montreal has not really shown too many times why he's worth the money that we gave him, and it wasn't even a crazy contract, right? If I'm not mistaken, $2.75 million a year on a 4-year deal, maybe even upwards of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but regardless, I mean,
let's check.
He really, to me, and I think I speak on behalf of both of us, hasn't really shown us too much. And it's nice to see him scoring a few goals. And actually, while watching the games, I feel like he's been contributing, like on the offensive side of things. Like, yes, he's scoring goals, but he's also putting the puck on net a lot more than I've seen in the past. And he hasn't been playing a terrible game like this so far this season. So nothing to complain on his part. But let's just hope that he doesn't get extended.
He's at 3.5.
3.5. Wow. And I really,
that
was $750,000 that I, missed on, and I still don't like that contract at 2.75. So I don't know what I would say at 3.5.
Yeah, he's at 3.5. But it's more the fact that it's the exact same as Savard. It's the fact that there's other players that need to take on his role, like Romanov or Harris, Fairbrother, that are coming up, that let them be able to win a spot instead of extending this guy who's really just, I don't know.
There.
He's just there. He just does things that are wrong and scores. Sometimes, now the goals that he's scoring, he just stays in the offensive zone, doesn't even go back, and he just gets lucky. He gets bailed out that he scores.
Yeah, and he thinks he's a hero, and he forechecks. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? Come on. Don't get me wrong. I mean, NHL players have to have a certain hockey IQ to be able to play in this league. That's for sure. But sometimes I question his. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes he thinks he's Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid all in one.
Well, he's our Connor McDavid, that's for sure.
Well, as of right now, I mean, there's not too many arguments against that.
The game before that, they lost to the LA Kings. Jake Evans scored an absolute beauty.
What a goal.
What a beautiful goal that was. Philip Deneau's return. It's funny when you boo a player every time he touches the puck, but when they show his name on the big screen eating pizza, they cheer and give him a standing ovation.
And then they go right back to booing him right after.
Yeah. What a weird fan base we have. It's so odd.
I think because there has been a precedent that has been set in the past where, players that leave the Habs automatically are getting booed regardless of
how they left.
Yeah, doesn't matter, right? So I think that it's kind of almost a necessity for the Habs fans to boo regardless of who the player is. And I saw a few comments on Twitter saying, what a classless fan base. Why are they booing this guy? And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, those boos are as harmless as they get.
Yeah.
They're just there for the environment, for the atmosphere. It's nothing more than that. And Phil Deneau, we know his contributions to this team. So
It's a good topic because my sister was asking me, like, who do they boo and who do they not boo? Like, Kotkaniemi chose to accept the offer sheet. Philip Deneau chose to leave the Montreal Canadiens. PK Subban got traded.
and
And
still booed.
he got booed. But like, they did that ceremony before the puck drop and everyone was crying and stuff. But then
Yeah.
once the first period started, every time he touched that puck, he got it.
Well, that's
He
it.
got it. So like, who, like, if Carey Price were to ever leave this team,
Oof. Oh God.
if Shea Weber were to ever, but he's not going to play anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, that type of player, would they get it?
What about Gallagher?
What about Gallagher?
That's because you know what? To me, that has more. Gallagher. Don't get me wrong. I think Price. I want to say has meant more to this team than Gallagher, but I
He
don't even know if
has.
that's.
Yeah, he has.
He has. Okay, fair enough. But the thing is that I think we've talked about this a few times. Gallagher is that one guy that we actually drafted and turned into an actual legitimate hockey player in this
Yeah.
league. I don't know. It's weird. And he just has that type of passion and that type of fight to him. So it would be really weird, but
I
don't
wouldn't
know.
boo him, but some would, obviously.
I would definitely not boo Gallagher. I mean, I wouldn't boo Kotkaniemi, even though, I mean, he accepted it. I
Yeah.
still wouldn't boo him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't boo Phil Deneau. I mean,
I
what are you
would have
getting out of that?
just to get it. I think there's like a solid 3 players on the top of my head that I would have booed if I was in the building. I think Mike Camilleri comes to mind. That was just a mess of a. He started roasting the Habs franchise and got traded
Yeah.
mid period. And anyways, Radulov, I would have given it to that guy.
Yeah, I guess. But again,
I went
missed
to a
little
Dallas
bit.
game. I just don't know if it was his first game back. It might have been, actually. I don't know if it was his first game back, but he got it in the Bell Center.
I'm sure he did. I don't know though. Like to me, Radulov again. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I think that he accepted a different contract, but there was also mismanagement on
Yeah.
Montreal's side of it. So I don't know. There's just there's always going to be the what ifs and like why do we boo and who do we boo and for
Yeah.
what reason, right? But I don't know. I even feel like booing kind of just I might get backlash for this comment, but kind of just adds to the respect towards the player. Like it's funny because it's usually the opposite.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're booing because
he was
almost,
good.
yeah, and
And he
it's almost
left.
just exactly, and it's almost just like it's a necessity because that's just what Montreal fans do, and that's just what the organization is. It's not the organization, excuse me, but the fan base has done for so long. So it's just something that's just going to continue to happen, regardless of the player and regardless of what they meant to the team.
Like if Victor Mete returned to Montreal when there was no fans in the building, when he comes back this season, is he gonna get booed?
I don't know. He's different, I think, just because I don't think that there was as much history behind his name as opposed to some of the other guys we've talked about. But probably.
He probably will.
Yeah.
Before we change topics now, because we've kind of gone on a bit of a booing rant here, the best is easily John Tavares. That's the top. That's the cream of the crop about booing someone.
And I think he deserves it. Personally.
Oh, he definitely deserved it. It was hilarious right from warm-ups. That guy stepped on the ice and the whole building stood up and booed.
He was sad. Like he was legitimately. He looked depressed when this was going on.
Like he was probably expecting something, but I don't think he's expecting what happened.
No.
Like that was bad.
I don't think it gets to that point. Like that was that was bad.
Rightfully so.
Absolutely.
Should we go into news around the National Hockey League?
Let's do it.
So we'll start with Sidney Crosby because the next game at the Bell Center is against the Pittsburgh Penguins next Thursday. And Sidney Crosby has exited COVID protocol, which is good for him because he played one game and then left because of COVID. Tested positive, even though double vaccinated. The Senators, however, have 3 players in the COVID protocol, which is unfortunate. Eric Brandstrom is out for 6 to 8 weeks. He was in trade talks for Vitaly Kravtsov, which we will get to later because obviously the Habs are involved in trade talks, including him. And I think the biggest headline of the week goes to Mr. Zachary Fukale. Is his name Zachary or is it just Zach? It might just be Zach.
Zachary. I think
Is it
I think
Zachary?
you had it right. I think you had it right.
It's Zachary. He got
Pretty
a
sure.
shutout in his first NHL game. And I called it. I knew it was going to happen. I was in class. I got a Twitter notification. I turned to my buddy and I said, Zach Fukale is starting tonight against Detroit. He'll post a shutout. I said 44 save shutout. It was like a 20-something save shutout. But it's like written in the stars. Former Habs Carey Price savior. The next generation Carey Price. First game with the Capitals. Post a shutout.
But did you know that it was his first NHL game?
Yeah.
I didn't why did I think that
because he got drafted in 2013.
It's weird. Like it's a weird scenario. Like I wasn't expecting that when I heard that it was his first game in the NHL. I was like,
yeah,
holy cow.
He bounced around everywhere except for the National Hockey League. AHL, ECHL, he was everywhere.
Yeah.
And good for him though.
Absolutely.
Let's not take it away from him. Good for him. We'll move on from him because again, there's so many players the Habs have drafted that are doing well. And we'll go on to the Great Eight, who passed Brett Hull. Now he's fourth all time in leading. He's gonna catch Gretzky.
Absolutely.
He'll do it. There's no way he doesn't at this rate.
But the fact that here's the thing, is that I think one of the biggest doubts going into one of the biggest doubts about him scoring or taking over the record is that he's getting older. Yes, we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get older, you usually see a decline, regardless.
Yeah.
When you're looking at the likes of Jaromir Jagr and maybe a couple other players, but that's about it. But this guy is legitimately playing at an elite level, elite level. It's insane because it's not like, he still score, he'll put up 20 to 25. He's on, I don't know what he's on pace for. I don't want to know because it's probably something absurd. But
yeah.
What is to say right now that he won't score 50? There's nothing.
Oh, I think he's going to score 50.
But that's a lot of goals for a 36-year-old. If I would have told you the season right before the COVID season, so 2019, 2020, do I have that right? Yeah, 2019, 2020 season.
Yeah.
If I said in 2 years from now, when Gretzky's 36, when Ovechkin is 36 and he just signed his contract, he just re-signed with Washington Capitals, he's gonna put up 50. I'm not saying that it would be out of the realm of possibility, and maybe you'd say it's possible, and it absolutely is possible, but you wouldn't be convinced of it. Right now, it's almost a guarantee the way he's playing.
He has 12 goals in 14 games.
So, I mean,
he's the greatest goal scorer of our generation of all time.
Absolutely.
I'm not even gonna say our generation. He's the greatest goal scorer of all time. Even if he doesn't pass him, I think he's still the greatest goal scorer of all time. Pure goal scorer. He's gonna catch up to him. And the fact that he's gonna catch up to him while playing in a career where he had an NHL lockout, where he missed a full year because of a lockout, and then he missed that whole COVID part. All of this adds to his age, but not to his number of games played, where he can add more goals. This is something else.
Yeah.
This is really something else.
And just to add on to all this, this is how many goals he's on pace for.
For those who can't see what he's showing, Justin, it's a 70.2. Will he score 70? I doubt it.
Probably not. But you know what? Again, I'm first of all, I'm a huge Ovi guy. I love his passion for the game. And the thing is that I think in recent history, we haven't seen too many Russian players because of the KHL mostly that have been so passionate to come play in North America. And it's so cool to see, when he won that cup in 2018, thank you.
Yeah.
It was I was so happy for him. It was insane. And now, I mean, he continuously just is putting everything out there. And the thing is that what's even cooler is that he doesn't really, to say that he doesn't care about beating the record is not true. But he has a priority, and his priority is to win hockey games and to make the Washington Capitals or bring the Washington Capitals to the playoffs and potentially win another Stanley Cup. Like, it's crazy how his intentions are in the right place and he's still, you know, outperforming him, like performing at this level. Like, I can't even speak on it. It's insane.
He's a beast. He's an absolute monster. I mean, like it literally makes no sense how this guy scores goals. First of all, however he can, he'll score them. He'll tip it in. He'll wire one timer, wrister, name it. He'll do it. But he also sits in the same office throughout the whole power play, doesn't move his feet until he gets that puck, and the goalie still can't stop it. And we're talking about the best goalies in the world who have evolved tremendously, not only their equipment, but their style of play, and they still can't stop it. Like, it's crazy.
And you would think, Mark, right, that like as he gets older, yes, he will decline. But not only will he decline as a player, but maybe his biggest weapon being his shot will significantly, decrease in effectiveness. And it's almost the complete opposite, where it's actually gotten stronger and goalies still haven't figured it out and are actually having maybe an even harder time trying to stop this guy. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and it's so cool to watch and actually witness. Like, watching McDavid is one thing, but watching someone score like this is another.
Speaking about McDavid, do you have the Oilers as the best? Like, is this their best chance to win a cup this year?
I think so. You mean in recent history?
Like if we look at this Connor McDavid era, it's this year, next year, and the year after that, I'd assume.
Yeah.
He's still 24, but I'm just saying, considering what's around him, this is the best team he's had for sure.
Oh, no debate.
But again, like we always mention on this podcast, how do you not solidify your goaltending position when you have the two best hockey players right now on the planet? I don't understand.
And
like, there's talks about Marc-Andre Fleury going to Edmonton, which would honestly be their best move, because Fleury's arguably the greatest goaltender I've ever watched in the playoffs. That guy just stands on his head consistently in the playoffs. He brought an expansion team to the Stanley Cup Finals. So that would be huge for them. But again, they're still, can Puljujarvi produce in the playoffs? Right? Zach Hyman, great hockey player, former Toronto Maple Leaf. Can he produce in the playoffs? Because he never did in Toronto. There's still a few question marks. But I think it's his best team for Connor.
Absolutely. And again, we can speak on the GM's part here. I do think that going after Zach Hyman, and look, I've watched my fair share of Edmonton games, not even for fantasy relevance, just because watching Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl play together is probably one of the most fun things to do as a hockey fan.
Yeah.
But despite that, I mean, you look at their top six, and Yamamoto, solid piece. Like he does bring something to the top six. Zach Hyman, definitely an upgrade. Absolutely. Puljujarvi is playing at a higher level. Nugent Hopkins, kind of just like, but the thing is, right, Mark, is that all these players that I just listed benefit from playing at one point or another throughout the game with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
But, Tyson Barrie is a good defenseman. Evan Bouchard seems to be evolving pretty nicely. Cody Ceci is not being talked about, which I think is good for him, because usually he's always getting flamed on social media.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't seem to be getting flamed, so maybe that's a positive thing for him. But again, it also goes back to the goaltending. And Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen, look, having a hot goalie going into the playoffs is the most crucial thing that you can probably have as a hockey team. But these guys are never going to get hot. Like, Mike Smith is good, but like, I don't see him putting this team on his back if necessary, right?
Yeah. There's no such thing of outscoring another team in the playoffs. If your goalie lets in 4 in a playoff game, it's not looking good for you. I know you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but the playoffs is a different beast. And you just can't start outscoring teams in the playoffs. So if they get a Fleury or even a Korpisalo, go after a Korpisalo. Because what he did in the bubble was everyone forgot about that. What he did in the bubble for Columbus was amazing. What he did. So if you go after a Korpisalo, go after a Fleury, But even I think we were talking about this on one of our group chats. Imagine if they got a guy like Mike Hoffman. Like obviously Mike Hoffman would have had to want to go to Edmonton. And Mike Hoffman, I'm talking about him because he's on the Canadiens, so I watch him every game. But imagine if they had a guy like Mike Hoffman on that top 6 with Puljujarvi, Puljujarvi's finally finding his way because he's still a 4th overall pick. He's finally finding that way. You have Connor Brown. What's his name?
Which one?
I'm blanking now. The
what-
former
what-
Leafs player. Connor Brown's in the Sens. Zach Hyman. You have Zach Hyman in your top 6. You would have had Puljujarvi.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They could have put a pure goal scorer next to one of the two. But anyways, we've been complaining about this team, and we're not even a fan of them.
Yeah, it's
I just
funny.
find it a missed opportunity.
For sure. And even to add on to your argument, like look, you said imagine putting a pure goal scorer next to them. It's crazy because this team, these two players, specifically Draisaitl and McDavid, make like a guy like Zach Hyman look like a pure goal scorer. It's like, if I'm not mistaken, he has 7 goals this season, and like that's not a small amount by any means. That's not his game. His game is not goal scoring. He's more of a gritty player with a little bit of skill, which is a and honestly a perfect balance. And I think any team would be lucky to have a guy like Zach Hyman. But you're absolutely right. They have never added a significant piece, on either of their wings that has been a proven goal scorer. And again, a guy like Mike Hoffman, I think, would benefit tremendously from playing with guys like that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he put up 40, maybe exceeding 40. But I didn't even name a guy before, like Darnell Nurse on their back end. Like, they have a solid team. But another guy that I would mention in net, and it was in the rumor mill last season, but like a guy like Darcy Kemper. I mean, not anymore, obviously.
Yeah.
But he was a guy that would have benefited from a change of scenery, which he now did. But imagine, like honestly, anyone but these goalies, anyone but them.
They missed their shot on Markstrom. That was the number one guy they needed. That should have been their number one priority, Jacob Markstrom. And he went to their rivals. Like, he stayed in Canada, and he didn't choose your team. Why is that? I don't know. He would have played with Connor McDavid, and if they had Jacob Markstrom, oh God, Jacob Markstrom's a good goalie. Anyways, enough about the Oilers. I'm just saying they're a good hockey team, but there's just something missing. Nugent Hopkins, a 1st overall pick, and he has no goals. But he still looks good out there because he's getting assists.
Yeah.
Like, you have 2 1st overall picks on your team. You have 2 of them. I don't know.
And also I think, like, you know, kind of just to finish up on this topic, I think also like they lack depth, right? I mean, they went out and got Warren Fogle. Don't get me wrong. I think, you know, fringe 3rd liner, 4th liner, perfect. But other than that, I mean, how many guys can you name me on those 2 lines? Like, I know they have that younger player. I'm blanking on his name.
It's not Dylan Holloway. He's not playing, right?
No, he's not playing yet.
He'll be good though for them, Dylan Holloway.
He will. I'm just gonna pull up their lines quickly. Oh, it's Ryan McLeod. He's a little bit younger and kind of, you know, slotted in on that 3rd line. But other than that, right, like Kyle Turris, I mean, good for the fourth line, but right now he's playing 3rd line minutes. Then you have Perlini, Derek Ryan, and Colton Sevior. Like we know from experience and we know from watching that to get to the playoffs is one thing, but to perform in the playoffs is another.
Yeah.
And to perform in the playoffs, like, you, as crazy as this sounds, you cannot depend on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and you need guys that will come up big when they don't.
Yeah, exactly. You need secondary scoring, and that's why I think you need to be all in on every position possible, and they're just not. They should be on every player available. Dylan Strom's available, you pounce on him. You know what I mean? You should just be on every guy just to make this team even better, because who cares if you risk your future? Who cares about your future right now? You have the greatest hockey player or the most talented hockey player to ever play the game on your team in his prime. Anyways, we'll switch topics here.
Ken Holland just sucks. Like, that's just my two. Like, I really
so old fashioned. Like really? Is he really the man for the job here?
Absolutely not. He's not the man for, and it's sad to see because look, like it's crazy to say. I'm like, don't get me wrong. I have no idea about the ins and outs of salary cap and cap space. Like I understand it if you showed me a few numbers, but it takes a lot more to be in that position than to just know a few numbers, right? But it's I don't know. He's not maximizing the
That's
potential of this team, and that's the
exactly.
problem.
That's you said it perfectly. He's not maximizing the opportunity that he has right now.
Like
This
you have
offseason should have been all in. The past
he's
2 off seasons should have been all in.
You have McDavid and Leon Draisaitl taking up a combined 25% of your cap space, and you're probably thinking like, well, you're not thinking this, but people might think, oh, that's a lot, 2 players under the cap, but you still have a lot of money to work with, and you
Mhm.
do, and especially
Mhm.
when you can get Hyman at a, I say discount, I mean 5.5
It's
point.
because they gave him that 7th year. That's why.
Well, there you go, right? You exactly, and then you get Nuge at 5.125, like that's great, but you need guys. You need to get rid of guys like Zach Cassian and Kyle Turris and like you just. I'm not saying you have to get rid of them, but replace them with
Yeah.
guys that can perform when it comes down to it, because you can't depend on Kyle Turris to man the third line in the first or second round of the playoffs. You just can't.
No, you can't. You can't. Like, why weren't they in on a guy like Victor Arvidsson? Wasn't he traded for like a late pick?
He was Victor Arvidsson was traded for a second and a third, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
But still, like
but
Mark,
still,
we're on the same page here. At this point, it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah. It's just a missed opportunity for them.
But
On
it's
the
interesting
topic
to
of
talk about.
on the topic of trading, Vitaly Kravtsov has left. He left the Rangers. What, it's been like 3 weeks now. It's been a while that he just didn't want to report to their AHL team. So he left. He went for the KHL. He played for his home. He's playing for his home team right now, like his hometown team. He scored an absolute beauty of a goal in his first game. 9th overall pick in 2018. The two teams interested, apparently, it was Frank Seravalli, right?
Yeah, it was.
Are the Montreal Canadiens and the Ottawa Senators. For the Habs, sure. Kravtsov, you get yourself a top 10 pick from that draft. You just lost a top 10 pick from that draft in the offseason in Kotkaniemi. So you get yourself another one. He's a winger, however. The Habs do have a lot of wingers. The Habs need centers and defensemen. But if you can get your hands on this kid for a cheap price, why not? And for the Senators, it seems more of a fit for them, considering the fact that they can trade. That Brandstrom 1-for-1 would be absolutely perfect. I don't know how that works with injury, because technically you're not allowed to trade someone who's injured, even though Vegas just did it with Alex Tuck. So I don't know how that works. But it makes more sense for the Senators. However, why not for the Habs? Just go for it.
I'm not opposed to it at all, and I do think that this is the type of player that doesn't come around very often. I mean, a 9th overall pick has a ton of potential, and I think that at 21 years old, if the Montreal Canadiens franchise and organization can learn how to develop a hockey player, then there is no reason why they shouldn't overspend for a guy like this. Because at the end of the day, in I'll say 6 to 8 years from now, assuming the Habs finally maybe learn that they're going to lose enough to the point where they're forced to rebuild, they'll have a gem. They will have a gem. And again, there's no determining that. There's no determining that's fully true, but we can assume and we can see by the way that he's kind of developed so far as a hockey player that maybe it's possible. But yeah,
usually there's always one player when we're talking about trades where I'm like, he'd be going the other way. Right now, I'm really not sure who'd go the other way. Look, Elias Anderson was traded for a 2nd-round pick. And he was considered a very good talent back when he was traded and didn't want to play for the Rangers, requested a trade. Do I think it's going to be a 2nd-round pick? No. I saw stuff about Ben Sherrod going the other way because the Rangers want a defenseman for at the deadline. Do I think it's a fair trade? No.
By all means, take it. Here.
But if my phone rings and I get offered Vitaly Kravtsov for Ben Sherrod and maybe a pick, I'd answer. I'd say yes in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even check my cap space. Wouldn't even check
Yeah.
with. I'd call Ben Sherrod before even hanging up the phone and tell him you're off to New York.
I would retain his whole salary cap if they wanted me to. I don't care. The whole thing. The whole damn
You
thing.
can't,
Mark.
but
Well, you know what I'm trying to get at here.
yeah.
But
I'd pay for his flight.
maybe a gourmet meal on the way too.
Yeah.
Here, go hit up Del Frisco's in New York. No problem. No
Give him a
problem. On me.
$10,000 spending spree in Times Square. Go ahead.
There you go.
Have
But you
fun.
know what's concerning, Mark? You know what's concerning about this whole rebuilding like direction that
Yeah.
we kind of hope Montreal's taking is the fact that look, I posted on Twitter on the account a couple days ago, hoping that I would get kind of like knowing the answer or knowing my answer. But I
Mhm.
posted what direction the Habs take, and it was a poll. It was between retool and rebuild.
Mhm.
The fact that 35% of people said retool is scaring the bleep out of me right now.
It's
Like,
because it's engraved in our memory.
what the heck, man?
It's a retool, not a rebuild. It's engraved. That quote is engraved in our memory. The fact that they pushed it so much, retool. People are so scared of a rebuild when a rebuild can be done in 3 years if you do it properly. It can. Like, obviously there's the Arizona Coyotes who take 15 years, but you can do it in 3 if you do it properly. And it all starts in this draft. If you can land the top 3 pick in this draft and you don't screw up, it's pretty hard to screw up in this draft. I was looking at the picks. If you land in the top 3, I'm going to use a fancy word here. There's a plethora of centers. I don't know why that word popped into my head. But there's a plethora of centers available in the top 3, even top 5. If you get a spot, obviously there's Shane Wright at 1. And if the league wanted to be nice and they saw the Habs finished 3rd to last in the National Hockey League, entered the lottery, maybe spoke to some people, whispered to a few ears, and said, look, the draft is in Montreal. The fans would love if they pick 1st overall. So why not make their ball pop up? Right? Conspiracy theory?
I mean, no, I'm
Montreal.
I'm kind of on. Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, honestly. And again, you said a plethora of centers. I mean,
Matthew Savoie.
Yeah, Brad Lambert, Connor Geeky,
I
Logan
like
Cooley,
Brad Lambert.
Yeah, so do I.
That's
I
one
really
guy
do.
where I saw at the World Juniors, but it's a good hockey player.
It's funny because he's Finnish.
His
But-
stock's falling a lot, though, apparently.
Is it?
Because he's not playing very well. So his stock's falling a lot. If the Habs get the 11th overall pick, I'd literally cry. Tears would come out of my eyes.
Why is
Because
that?
that goes straight to Arizona. Their pick is top 10 protected in the Dvorak trade. That's what people don't understand. Where, let's win some hockey games. No. You got to lose them all. Because if you land out of the top 10, it goes straight to Arizona.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I'm missing something here. You said that the pick that we traded to Arizona is top 10 protected. So you're saying that
Dvorak, we traded a 1st round pick and a 3rd round pick, if I'm not mistaken, right? It was a
yeah,
second.
you're right. No, you're
It
right.
was a 1st and a 3rd.
Yes.
That 1st round pick is the best of Montreal or Carolina's. Carolina's is the one we received in the Kotkaniemi offer sheet. Right? We received a 1st and a 3rd from Carolina. I think it was a 1st and a 2nd for Dvorak. Anyways.
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. Sorry.
So the Habs declined to accept the Kotkaniemi offer sheet, and they received a 1st and a 3rd from the Carolina Hurricanes. At that moment, they had a Montreal Canadiens 1st round pick and a Carolina Hurricanes 1st round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Then they traded that 1st round pick and something for Dvorak. In that deal, it's the best 1st round pick that goes to Arizona. However, both picks are top 10 protected. Obviously, Carolina's doesn't matter. They're going to the
So what
playoffs.
you're saying, sorry to cut you off, just so I can make sure that I understand here. So you're saying that if they finish in the bottom 10, right, then that would automatically, or sorry, wherever they finish in the lottery, like assuming that it's in the top 10.
It's the Carolina trade it's the Carolina pick that goes to Arizona. So no matter what, Arizona gets Montreal or Carolina's first round pick. However, it's the best of the two. So if Montreal finishes 11th, that's the better of the two. So it goes to Arizona.
Well, assuming Carolina doesn't finish worse, right?
Yeah, they won't.
Yeah, no, I know, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, right? Okay, so
Mhm.
that's how. Okay,
So, but if they finish 10th, Carolina's pick goes to
and
Arizona
Montreal gets
because
to
it's
keep their
top
pick.
10 protected.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
So
Okay, perfect.
it's the better of the two that gets traded. However, if it's top 10 protected, it stays, and the other one goes.
It's funny how
So
I said I was about to say perfect, but like
no, it's
it's
still it's stressing. It's like it because there's a risk here. Obviously, thank God he protected a top 10. He didn't pull a San Jose Sharks and not protect it. He could have protected a top 3, which is still I think they would have lost it, but top 10 protected at least. There's a chance. There's a high chance they keep it, but 11th overall would be horrible because then you're
we'd have no
picking.
picks.
No, you're picking Carolina's pick.
Right, but that's like that could be 25.
Yeah, it
And
probably is gonna
and
be.
and if it's 25, I mean,
It could be
we don't
30 for all we know.
yeah, and we have a history of not making good first round picks, let alone at the back end of the first round. So
Yeah.
where does Oh boy.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping for imagine Shane Wright.
I
Like I
honestly
know
be
it's still
okay with
early. Like it's still like we're November.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're 15 games in. You're
Mhm.
15 games in and there's an 82 game season and
Yeah.
you're right outside or you're I don't want just y- it's enough games to get you thinking.
And even at that, you get if you get yourself a Brad Lambert and Matt Savoie. I don't know. It's a good draft, and they better
Yeah,
hit,
it's great.
and
Like
it better not be 11th overall.
we're just outside of 20%, like 20% of the way through the season.
Mhm.
So, I mean, like it's flown by. Like all it takes is look, like right now we're third to last in the league, right in front of Arizona and Ottawa. Arizona has 3 points, Ottawa has 7, Montreal has 9. Like Montreal can easily finish in the bottom 5, like easily, like very
Mhm.
easily.
I hope they do. I truly hope they do.
I do too, and it's funny because I talked to some people, and again, this kind of it's funny because it kind of goes back to bubble hockey, and I was kind of like telling myself, I'm like, I kind of want the Habs to lose to Pittsburgh and just get a good pick and call it a day. This means nothing. I say it
Mhm.
means nothing. Don't get me wrong. The Tampa Bay Lightning Cup means something, but it's different. It's fully different, and you have to look at it in a different light. But with that being said, like I wanted them to lose and they won, and then I started to cheer for them. But I don't want them to lose because I don't like them. I want them to lose because it's for the better of the organization
Yeah.
and for the bettering of the team going forward. And that's the same thing here. I watch Habs games, and Mark, let's both agree on this, or I think we can both agree on this. They're not a good hockey team. They're not
Mhm.
a good hockey team, and they don't. I don't. There are a few players that stand out. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see them making a push or let alone getting out of the bottom 10 teams in the league this year.
Yeah, me neither. I don't. Yeah, I wanted them to lose also against Pittsburgh. Obviously, now that we look back on it, do they sign Tyler Toffoli if they lost that bubble series? Probably not. Do they have the opportunity to sign Josh Anderson 7 years? Probably not, because players saw that this team actually, with Carey Price and Shea Weber, have a chance to go far, and that's exactly what they did. They went to the Stanley Cup Finals the year after. But I wanted a shot at Lafreniere. I thought it was going to be
Mhm.
rigged. Send the hometown boy home. Anyways, that was just my crazy thoughts as a Montreal Canadiens fan of
Yeah.
getting Alexis Lafreniere. This year's a bit different. Look, any top 5 pick I'll be happy with.
I
But
mean,
what's the point of winning some hockey games for morale and for, oh, look, the Habs are on a 4-game win streak, but then you still miss the playoffs? What's the point of doing that and then not having your pick because you have to give it to Arizona? What's the point of landing the 15th overall pick or the 13th overall pick, having to trade it just because we wanted to win some hockey games and make the fans happy? No, it makes no sense. You're wasting a year. You're literally wasting a year of
yeah.
losing.
It's so frustrating, honestly, and it's like it sucks because, like, for example, tonight, like I'm gonna watch the Habs game. I'm gonna
Mhm.
watch it, and am I gonna hate every minute of it? Maybe
It's
most of
against
them.
Detroit, so they might score 7, but it's in Detroit. They don't have a good
I know,
record in Detroit.
but you know what bothers me is the fact that yes, they'll probably maybe they'll score, maybe they'll win, and great. Like it's nice to see your favorite team win. That
Mhm.
that goes without saying. That's it's as obvious as they come. But I,
But
this
will we
team,
be mad if they lose? That's the key
no,
question.
no,
Exactly.
and I just as a fan, like right now, what make like we the Habs are in such a sensitive position right now because Mark Bergevin has done a good job for the most part,
Mhm.
but this team is arguably in a hole right now. It's in a hole because you have a mix of players who are in the position to win now, like a Josh Anderson who can contribute, can seriously contribute to a contending team for a contending team, excuse me.
Yeah.
But then you have players that who are just not ready to take that next level, to get to that next level yet. And that will come with time, but the mix doesn't bode well for the Montreal Canadiens. And it's such a sensitive and soft position to be in. And right now, the position should be, or the direction should absolutely be tanking and absolutely be a rebuild.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, it doesn't need a full rebuild, yes, but the Montreal Canadiens are in a position where they can, a full rebuild, like you said, could take 3 years.
They could do it in 3 years. You lose for 2 years straight. You're gonna get some good picks. You already have a solid prospect pool. I don't know. It makes sense. And by the time the rebuild's done, Suzuki's in his prime. It literally fits perfectly. Caulfield's in his prime. Anyways, we'll move on from that because I feel like we talk so much about rebuild and
But Mark, you know what?
prime.
Unfortunately, sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's just the reality of it, and it's frustrating as a fan. It's
Mhm.
frustrating because you want to see your team lose. You don't want to see your team lose, but it might be for the betterment of the team. But at the end of the day, when the you know what, if the organization came out today, and I know that they can't speak publicly on this, but if they made it semi obvious that they were all in, for example, I much rather them tell me we're all in and we're going to do everything in our in our capabilities and to win. I would be happier than where we're at now because there's no direction. There is absolutely no direction. If you came out and told me that you wanted to rebuild fully, great. But it's one or the other. You can't
Mhm.
the retooling thing, like you mentioned before, is ingrained into the head of the fan, into fans' heads, and it's just created some monster. Like it's terrible.
The Rangers did it. They just sent out a letter saying, "Look, we're gonna suck for some years. Accept that." And what happened? They got the second overall pick in Capo Caco. They got the first overall pick in Alexis Lafreniere. Oh, and they signed the best free agent in the past 10 years, Artemi Panarin.
And again, you know,
But they
it's a
sent out a
favor.
letter saying we're gonna suck for some years, so accept that. And look at them.
And
The Habs will
look,
never do that, though. They'd never do that.
they'll never do that, and that's
They'll
the
never send
problem.
a letter.
Well, they'll never send a letter, let alone actually do it. And
Yeah.
that's the problem. Is that did the Rangers lose fans? Maybe a few. Were they a weak fan
Mhm.
base for a little while? Probably. But
It'll come back, though. It
it
will.
comes back. Passionate fans don't leave, and the Montreal Canadiens fans are passionate. And yes, maybe a little rowdy and toxic sometimes. But is that to say that they're not going to stay true to the team that they love? No, no. It's upsetting. It's upsetting because I really do think that at this point, look, kudos to Mark Bergevin for his work, but it's time to move on from from the management standpoint.
Yeah.
The coach, the GM, the owner needs to sell. The owner needs to do something.
Yeah, he won't sell.
Why would he sell? Why the hell would he sell?
Yeah, no, there's
He's
no chance.
making money out the wazoo.
They made the popcorn smaller at the Bell Center.
Sure, they did.
And I thought they were gonna meet my Coke. I thought it was gonna be in like one of those like cups with the straws. Instead, this guy opens even before I paid, he opens the bottle because you can't keep the cap, right?
Right.
Opens the bottle, gives it to me with a small popcorn because it used to be bigger when I was smaller. It cost me $14. That little, because you can't have the popcorn without the drink.
Right, because it's too salty, right?
It's too salty, too buttery. It just gets you thirsty.
I mean, it's good, but Yeah.
It's amazing. No, it's a great combo. Nice Coke and a popcorn. But like I'm sitting at my seat, and first of all, Jeff, you gotta put some cup holders. I know
Yeah.
adding one cup holder to every chair probably removes a total of 10 seats in the Reds because that little couple adds up and it removes a few
Right.
seats. But come on, man. I look like an idiot with my
On the floor.
on the floor and they score and like
And then I
you
get
know what I
up and I
mean?
knock it over with my foot. Like, oh
Yeah,
my god.
like come on,
It's a
man.
little. Don't get me wrong. It's an iconic building, and the Bell Center is so fun to like. It's so fun
Put
to
some
go
cup
watch.
holders. Come on,
It's a
Jeff.
cup holder, man. And switch the damn like not environment. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the entertainment. Like what's with the cars racing around every time? It's the same thing every single year. It's ridiculous, Mark.
At
Like,
least their
can you just
intro's kind of good. They do a good job on that.
No, they
But
do.
yeah, but Vegas took over with intros. Used to be the
Yeah.
Habs, like, oh, they had great intros. Now it's especially when they got rid of that torch, man. Come on, that's your
That was
one.
so
That's your one
fun.
thing. It's your go-to. Why'd you take it away? Put some cup holders, man. Anyways,
Yeah. No, it's
we'll get to our predictions. Now we're really
yeah,
going
now
off topic.
you're really giving us. You know what? Screw it. Hat trick for Sherrod tonight. I don't want to hear anything
Hat trick for
else.
Sherrod. It's
No, I'm
very. That's
joking.
not even bold.
No, not at this
He's
point.
elite.
Okay, wait. Appreciation for a second.
For
I know
Backshot.
you. No, definitely not. I know
Oh.
one of your buddies says that we never talk about Gallagher, and I mean this is not about Gallagher, but this is an appreciation towards a different type of player, a different type of skill that we have on this team, and that's Nick Suzuki. We haven't talked about him once this
Yeah.
episode. He has 14
Yeah.
points in 11 games. He's killing it.
That's some good hockey.
Playing some good hockey, and he's such a smart hockey player. And
Mhm.
it's funny because there's certain players that I enjoy watching because they're exciting to watch. And it's not that Nick Suzuki's exciting, but he's just so smart that it's like, why or how did he think about making that player doing that? Like, it's sick. It's cool.
I have a disappreciation minute for someone.
Oh God.
If that's even a word. I don't even know if that's a word.
Can I take a guess? Is it a player on the Montreal? Is it a player?
Oh yeah. Well, who else? Oh, you thought it was gonna be like
I thought maybe it was like Ducharme or something.
Oh no.
Which I would also add to that category. But anyway,
No, it's a player.
I think
he should be getting more heat than he's not getting heat at all.
Is it a defenseman?
No, it's a forward.
Why am I? Oh, well, is it Dvorak?
Nope.
Is it top 6, bottom 6? I want to guess it, but now you narrow it down.
Yeah, no, I really narrow it down if I go.
Obviously, definitely not Ryan Poehling for his one game.
Well, he played bad, but it's not him. No.
Pizzetta?
Bad. I'll say
No, it's not
bad.
Pizzetta.
No,
it's not
Pizzetta.
Hoffman. I know you like Hoffman.
I love
Holy
Mike
cow.
Hoffman.
Yeah, I know.
I honestly want his jersey really bad. But anyways, we'll continue. Keep guessing.
It's not Gallagher.
No.
What the hell, man?
Like he's been like so quiet that you don't even. You think he's injured?
No. Josh Anderson?
No.
Who is it, man?
You want me to just tell you?
Yeah, I do.
Yoel Armia.
Oh.
Like, he has done absolutely nothing. He just signed an extension at $3.4 million. He's doing nada. That's my Sec 5 or Sec 3 Spanish.
And that's not like nothing in terms of money. Like, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing at all. It's some Paul Byron money there. And once he hops in the lineup, we're gonna have two guys doing nothing.
Oh, sorry,
he wears a letter in his jersey. My bad. You know what I mean? Like, he's doing nothing. He's literally doing nothing. He's the most expensive fourth line player in the league. Why did he get that contract? Because he played well in the playoffs. He's the most inconsistent player on the Habs. He wins. He really is. Yes, he wins battles. But what is he doing? And no one's talking about him. $3.4 million for a fourth line player that has 0 goals. Right? He has 0.
That seems to be the problem with the Montreal Canadiens as a whole, is the fact that we give players money, we spend to the cap, but we have such a hard and then our leading goal scorer has 4 goals. Like, okay, I understand that the Habs, again, I talked about it before, are in a sensitive state and they're not in a win. Yeah, like, come on, like,
here's 1 point.
Look, if I go look at Troy Terry, don't get me wrong, this guy's having the breakout of his life, but this guy's putting the puck in the net for no money, for $0.
How much does he make? Let's see how much.
I don't know. I guarantee you, it's not more than Joel Armia, though.
You want to take a guess?
Yeah, do you have it up on? Do you have it
I'm
up
about
right now?
to. It's loading. I
I want to
have
take
it.
a like.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with like one like 1,750,000.
1.4.
Okay, so I was
Very
relatively close.
close.
Like, but you know what I mean is that like teams have players that break out and produce and actually score and overachieve, I guess you could say, on their respect contracts. Like they do more than they should be doing.
Hmm.
But we have the complete opposite. They do nothing.
Yeah,
Like
he's
Joel,
literally doing nothing.
but like I like him and he's a good player and I know that he has a certain skill
Hmm.
set. But the fact that he has 1 point is concerning. The fact that our leading goal scorer is 4 goals through 15 games is concerning. The fact that our leading point scorer is 14, fine, through 15 games, absolutely. But it's just like we have a bunch of players that just don't contribute and we're spending money. We're spending to the cap. If we weren't spending to the cap, I'd sit here and I'd lay back and I'd put my feet up and grab my Coke, put on my sunglasses, enjoy the sun. But that's not what's going on, Mark. That's not what's going on.
Enjoy
And
the
it's
sun.
sad. Enjoy this nice lamp I have here that's reflecting a lot of heat. But it's too much. It's too much. Tyler Toffoli's inexistent. Josh Anderson contributes, but is he worth the money that we're giving him? I don't know. This is a rant. This is a
I
rant,
know.
Mark. But you know
I
what?
get that. Jesus.
Dude. I,
Oh my
I want to clip this. Can we clip this and put it on TikTok or something? Because
Okay,
you know,
we'll go to our predictions for tonight's game at Little Caesars Arena.
oh man,
I'll start us off with 2 goals from Yoel Armia.
yeah. As we speak about it,
I'm that serious.
I know you're. I'm gonna go with.
Didn't you say a hat trick from Big Ben?
There's from Big Ben. No, that it's not happening.
Okay.
That's too realistic.
Oh, it's very true. Very true.
I'm going with. I'm going with a hat trick from Pizzetta here.
Pizzetta, yeah.
I'm feeling. I think this guy's done. I think, and you know what's crazy, Mark? Like I watch. Okay, I'm done. I'm done after this. But I watch other teams play hockey. It's like, oh, who's this guy forechecking? I've never seen a player forecheck in my life. We have 3 players on our team that forecheck: Pizzetta, Brendan Gallagher, and Josh Anderson. That's it.
And Lehkonen when he's in the mood.
Yes, fair enough. But the other ones are just like, here, you want to give me the puck? Oh no, okay, I'll back off. That's fine. I respect it. Have a nice day.
Ryan Palin
Stop.
finishes
Let's
a
not
game
talk
in,
about
he
this, man.
finishes a game in Laval.
He scores.
He gets a call from Bergevin. They go, yeah, you're coming to play for us tomorrow night. Oh, amazing. Who am I playing with? Toffoli? Hoffman? Who's it gonna be? It's Belzil and Pizzetta. I might as well just stay in Laval then, Mark.
But that's what I
I
don't
might
get.
as well stay with Caulfield. Might as well.
Like, okay, last thing. Okay, I said this already, but on your point, you look at other teams. Like you look at the Devils, for example. Like they have Dawson Mercer and Holtz, right? Like 2 great hockey players. You cannot tell me that they would be producing the way they are if they were playing with whoever's on their 4th line. But
Yeah.
Dawson Mercer's playing with Tatar and he's playing with Heishier and he's playing with Hughes when he's healthy. Like they're giving them the opportunity to succeed. And that is what Montreal does not do. And when they don't succeed, like Caulfield did it for a little bit, it's like, oh yeah, back to the minors. Yeah, you know what,
Yeah.
bud? It's been too long. You haven't done anything. Like it's done. It's done for you.
The only player that has been pushed out of a slump by like stay with these guys, push it. We're gonna give you minutes. You're gonna get out of the slump is Nick Suzuki. And look at the player he is. When he struggled, they didn't send him down. Like when he had slumps, they didn't demote him to the 4th line. They didn't demote him to the 3rd line. They kept him there and they pushed it until he got out of it. And look, he's a confident hockey player. Like this season, they could have easily demoted him at the start. Cut his minutes, push him down.
Sorry,
Last
who are
season,
we talking about right now?
Sorry, Suzuki.
Sorry, like I got lost in that.
Suzuki.
Absolutely.
He's never been
Absolutely.
demoted. He's always, you're struggling, you're gonna get out of it. You're gonna get out of it with 25 minutes a night.
But that's how
Mhm.
that's how sports work. That's how organizations are supposed to work.
They did it with him. So,
But like, look at Lucas Raymond. Like I know he was drafted like 2 years ago, but they're giving him an opportunity to succeed. They're
the
playing
same
with
year
Dylan Larkin.
as Holtz. Both
Right.
top 10 picks.
And it doesn't take a first like Montreal. It's either first overall pick or nothing. Like either we get the first overall pick and that guy's going to produce regardless, or what? Like if you pick 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, I'll go all the way to 32. You're not getting anything out of that player. This is so frustrating, man. I sit here every day and I contemplate. I'm like, I want to watch the Habs game, but like, do I enjoy it? Absolutely not. I hate every second of it. Come on,
Manhattan.
Pizzetta, get in the corner.
Pizzetta, man, what a player.
I love him. I love his hair and his stash.
I was watching the game. Last game I was watching, and I was looking at Lehkonen, man. Right in the slot all alone. Right on the tape, and he wires it over the net. And I look to my friend and I go, that's the man. That's the man who brought this team to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's him. Look at him. Look at him miss the net. But he scored that one goal. That one goal that brought us to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since '93. But he can't hit the net anymore. He did it once. That's enough. He's going to stop. Him and Armia. One guy behind me goes, look at this guy. Look how slow he is. It was Armia trying to stick handle in the neutral zone. It 3.4 million. That's what it costs to pay your fourth line. Like Armia makes what, 2 something?
Armia?
Lehkonen, sorry.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's see. He makes 2.3.
Okay.
So Lehkonen at 2.3, Armia at 3.4, and I keep saying fourth line, but they're not even on the fourth line. Why? Because Belzile is on the team.
Stop. I'm not in the mood to laugh, Mark. Like it's not.
Why is
it
Island in there? Why is it? You know what I mean? Why is it Belzile?
Well,
why is it? Pezzetta would have been fun for 3 games. That's enough.
Well, if you didn't know though, like, the management down in Laval is trying to make like Caulfield the next Braden Point in front of the net. If you didn't know, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a solid strategy to put in front of the net. Let's have a Xavier Ouellet wire slap shots at our most talented player. Let's do that.
And hopes to get a stick on it. And hopes to get a stick.
And hope if he hits him in the shin, man.
Mark, how is that beneficial for Laval? You have a 5'7" guy standing in front of the goalie. Like, how does that benefit? Like, are you trying to win games? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Caulfield will win you games on the half wall. He's not winning you games in front of the net. What is he?
You should get a media pass and ask him.
My God, man, I should be the guy that they should be the ones asking me why
Island's playing well in Caulfield's spot, and you got to do what you got to do.
I'm heated. I'm actually sweating right now. Like I'm sweating. Why am I sweating? Just book it already. Pezzetta hat trick.
Pezzetta hat trick. I went with the Joel Armia 2 goals.
Posting this on Twitter.
And we're gonna end it off on this note.
No, we're not. We're not ending it off on anything. Because you know what I want? You know what I like to do?
What are we gonna do?
Because if you go to, I don't know if it's on Cap Friendly, but you can click on a player's name and see see like a player comparison. Like it says like contract comparison to someone.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I don't know where to find it though. Like I'm struggling to find it. But I want to compare an Armia contract to someone.
Compare this contract.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I'm with Lehkonen right now.
Okay, so am I. Oh, Jared McCann. Oh, Burakovsky.
Mangiapane.
Marcus Foligno, Beauvillier, Tyler
Kevin
Bertuzzi.
Fiala. Kevin Fiala makes $3 million.
Pavel Zacha. I love. You know what? I'm stopping. No, we're not ripping on Lehkonen. No, stop it. Go to Armia.
Mangiapane is going to play for Team Canada at the Olympics, which will be one of the best Team Canada teams we have ever seen, and he's making less than Joel Armia.
Can I give you some names for Joel Armia contract comparison here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Brian Rust. No, that's the wrong player. Sorry. Brian Rust. Unfortunately, it's kind of a weird. Gustav Nyquist, Connor Garland.
Connor Garland's a good hockey player.
Like I'm just Tyler Bertuzzi again. Like I'm just saying
Mr.
that like
Vaccine.
Yeah, but Mr. Vaccine is producing for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Whatever. All I'm saying is that you don't need to be the most consistent player of all time, but you just can't be the most inconsistent player of all time.
Yeah.
Like why is that? Why is this a thing? Whatever. This was fun though. This was a lot of fun. I got so much out of me.
Good. I'm happy. Saturday night.
But you know what, Mark? I think one thing that the fans want to hear, or the listeners want to see, is you freak out.
I've freaked out on an episode before, have I?
I'm sure you have. I just not in recent memory.
Yeah, probably not. Because I just kind of accepted. It was more prior to the whole Kotkaniemi. Like that episode when we were like debating what are we gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty angry. But I've never really lost my mind over here. I think you should go with the flow and just look at this team and go, this is what it is. Which went to the Stanley Cup Finals. It's not like we lost. It's not like we got a first overall pick and can't make it past the first round. Toronto.
Whatever. It's over, man. It's over. This team is in the dumps. We're in the dumps.
What did you post on Twitter about right? What's the sentence this year? Because it was all in for Dallin. Was the
Oh,
Dallin
it's oh, give me a sec. Let me find it quickly. It was one of my friends like from school actually showed me.
Pain for Shane? Was it that?
Yeah. Pain
Pain
for
for
Shane watch
Shane.
party.
Pain for Shane watch party.
I like
That's a good one. Pain for Shane. And then it was On perd pour la Frenière. That was the Lafrenière one.
Yeah, that was good. Should we make that our the title of this episode? Pain for Shane.
That's a good title. Yeah, actually, it's a very good title.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
You know, oh my god, it's funny. I see on Twitter there's so many passionate Habs fans. Happy Saturday! It's game day. Like, what are you excited about? I don't understand.
Hey, Little Caesars Arena. It's gonna be bumping,
dude. Oh, I can't wait in like a week from now because I don't listen to the episodes right away, but I can't wait to re-listen to this one because this one has been so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Kind of took a crazy turn.
Yeah. For the better, honestly.
Yeah, for the better. But I think we should end it on this note.
Yeah, we will.
And we thank you so much for tuning in, for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. It was a fun episode. We'll catch you next time. And thanks again.
Thanks a lot, guys.